4:50 or 4:56. I know I'm wearing a shirt, I'm wearing a sweater. And I didn't, yeah, I'm clothed. So I apologize for the misleading, like, bum nail. That was funny. That was a little funny. You know, that was a little funny. Yeah. I really just picked this topic to talk about because I'm feeling lazy. Which is actually kind of having to do with the topic. It's interesting how, I don't know, it's an interesting time where the things, I'm going to say we, but I really can only speak for me. So I will actually. It's an interesting time where I feel like I'm not the only one, where the things that I care about the most, which have always eluded me in this world, and so how I spend my time most fruitfully has been like a balancing act of moving towards and making do with how I can receive in scarcity. And that's even like post-lack mindset, and just like truly being like, oh no, wait, no. It's been made scarce because there's only so much you can do about other people. But the things that I care about the most are becoming real. So other like just like more minor types of passing time, and by passing time I mean spending it wisely, which is to say in like relaxation, gentle entertainment, highly focused rigor, whatever flight of fancy that catches the moment most appropriately. And yeah, I'm just noticing that treating myself well and in love, even that way of treating myself has become, or is becoming, different, because dreams are becoming a reality. It's nice, right? And I'll say to that end, because I'm sure it has something to do with the topic as well, because I'm saying it, and I brought myself here with you, and we led each other here too. Just noticing the resistance to the same activities that that fall into like my own categories. I don't know, category. I'm just gonna go category. Gore. Bleh. My classification. How I would classify like activities that are aligned with living my dreams and my most like awesome life activities. Well, it's not like it's like I haven't fucking tried, for most of my life. in different ways. But I would venture that even my trying, despite like the nobleism of it, weren't the most loving things that I could be doing. Because the world is trying to kill me for doing the things that I love. So I'm just noticing like the resistance that's like flimsy. Nothing, you can't fucking resist me. Me. That was a me, comma me. So I am referring to just noticing. It's like, oh yeah, like remember when I used to like set my alarm to wake up at this time to like, you know, type and create things and try and figure things out. And the resistance is just despite my coming from a lack mindset, maybe at that point in time, what I didn't have was the experience of unreasonable failing. Right? Like I worked hard, in like a very like a highly like a reasonably intelligent way. And if I dare, may I dare say, like beyond reasonably like kind, in like societally kind way. And so, and meeting like zero or like -0 reasonable success. It's not to say I couldn't achieve certain like arbitrary goals, but it's like how you reach those goals are your goals. So I could, in fact, like this, my whole life has been a practice / exercise of like, you wouldn't have done this if you know you would have had to do it. This is what it would look like. You signed up for like the adventure. You're like, you signed up for like, fuck it, I can do anything. It's like, fuck it, I want the best. I want the most. It's like all I ever talk about is love. Or like, you know, it's like there's such and such needs help. Like we're like, fuck it, I can do it. And by I mean my team, you know. We can do anything, yo. Ready? Ready. High five. Boom. And then we get here. It's like, fuck, this sucks. Whose idea was this? Like, we knew we could succeed. This sucks, right? Yeah, it sucks. All of this conversation happening like in our dreams and completely unbeknownst to our consciousness so as to suck more. Until like now-ish. Okay. So, all that talk about sucking, let's talk about sex. Hi, my name's Elliot. What up? I knew it all had to do with something. And it really does. Let me tell you how. Let's start with the obvious. The discomfort. What was obvious about that? See, I'm like changing how I sit. Yeah, man. It's not comfortable. I'm gonna turn this like that a little bit too, because like, who's got time for that? Bright light. And I'm gonna still do that because like, who's got time for that? If you're gonna sit on my face, Wow. Every immediate thing that came to my mouth just then was better thought than said, unless, quite frankly, I was. See, I can't even. I don't mind being naughty. And I've got a real wide range of inappropriate band spectrum. But I'm also a really good listener. And eventually someone's going to listen to this where it's like, Elliot, the most loving kind thing would be to not be misunderstood by this person. It's like, yeah, well, can't help that. Except like this, namaste. Actually, as like the title alludes to, I'm really only considering one particular opportunity when it comes to really how men and women have sex with each other. And you know what? I'm really into this day and age more and more polarizing myself particularly. So I'm going to go ahead and say what I mean. Sex, when I said sex between men and women, that's the only sex. That's sexual intercourse. When before I had sex, and I would fool around with girls, and we would do all the things, which is to say, oral sex, hand stuff, kissing. It was awesome. and I'll speak to this, but like parts of me miss those days when it wasn't all about I'm going to say orgasm. Because even if it was all about orgasm, without the sex act, you can't escape the intimacy of kind of creating that state or stimulating that state, or at least maybe you can't. I mean, obviously you can fucking do anything. People suck, but I didn't. I couldn't. It was nice. But we didn't like walk away and like be like, that was great sex, right? I was talking with a new friend of mine a couple days ago, and it's lovely. Like, even just yesterday, I met a woman. Like, I had the inclination to visit a yoga studio that I was driving and it was in the neighborhood of. I was just driving around, so it's not like I even had a reason to be around there. But except to follow my heart and my love of driving, and also my responsibility to like actually just spread my light. Like I drive around the city singing happily in my car, and that like I notice because I can't not notice, but I also am not looking because that's not divine, right? You don't stare at people. You know, just watch. Like, take your attention is energy. Be open. Let all the light land on you. Be a part of all the light, but then focus on where you're going. And stop fucking running into people. yeah, like and so I went to the studio. Like I haven't been here in like over like almost 2 years, and like I taught here for like 6, a lot, you know. Uh, so it was, I just wanted to see who was there, and because I felt inclined, whatever. I've driven in that area tons of times over the last year, but this is the first time where I was really like, huh. And I got there, and there was like a teacher there that, like, obviously I knew, but I know practically all the teachers anyways. But she wasn't someone that I was particularly close with. But there was a trade, like an energy exchanger. And there was a person who volunteers in exchange, like to help facilitate the yoga studio in exchange for getting to attend classes and be a part of the yoga community. Sans monetary remuneration, either way. And whatever, I guess I'm telling you the story. Because it's about synchronicity and all of us coming together. And so if all of my conversations in this manner include some anecdote that has less to do with what I'm talking about and more to do with evidencing the evolving world of ours, then good job, Elliot. You're telling good stories. So yeah, like I was like on my way out, and I didn't know her, but she was trading, and she like I got a good vibe from her, like kindness. So it doesn't take much for me to just connect with someone to say like thanks. And she smiled, and I think she may have even said like bye or thanks or whatever. It's like the words sometimes are really important, and sometimes the words are really not important. In this case, it really wasn't for either of us, because I then kind of like I started walking away. I was like, it's like, you know, it could be weird that I am thanking you. Like I just walked out of the bathroom, like she didn't do anything for me, you know. And instead of saying bye or something like that, like I said thanks. Then anyway, so she came up, she's like, I didn't even really hear what you said. And then we started talking, just like cool people, like, which is, and I don't mean just cool people, I mean like us. It's like, whoa. Like, the biomagnetism, like the biomagneto spectrum of humanity is clarifying, and really, I'm fucking kidding. What else are we doing? Do good work, goddammit. And so I was having a conversation with another friend of mine. That was kind of in this way where it's like, I don't even know you, but I know right away that like you and I go all the way. You're a part of my team, yo. Like you're a fucking awesome person. You know? Because truth be told, you can know people like that in a moment, in an instant, because knowing for someone for a period of time is essentially story building. It's environmental. It's multivalent. It's cosmic, right? But it doesn't take a long time to know anybody. It takes a long time to have to create stories with them over a long time. But you know someone right away, really, when that person is themselves, and so are you, without all the masks and bullshit, the lies, the distortion. And that's not my judgment. That's my, again, like celebrating our present moment and the work that we've done to create um, like a biomagneto consciousness environment where, at least as we attract each other's into our lives, we can create. We've basically, as we're getting to a point where, consciously or not, we've established our own bubble of clarity, of truth and honesty, and depending on who we are and our roles in the great cosmic body, like that sphere is like humongous or just big enough. I did all that on purpose because it's funny. If you don't get it, don't worry about it. Don't stay. Remember what we're talking about. Like I needed to lead that. Anyways. Yeah, and so then as we cross paths and we enter each other's kind of, and then as we attract our like spheres of truth, towards and along each other, because it's all the same sphere of truth. We're all one sphere of truth in and of ourselves, but it's just the sphere of truth. So it wants to be whole unto itself. So we're going to find each other by virtue of forces greater than ourselves as ourselves. And like to end the bumping into the woman yesterday, she was rad. And like, unlike a lot of most people actually that I meet in 3D, there's only one other person that I've ever met, like really, whom I relate to, like living this journey consciously. So this was like the second. And she was so cool, man. Like she's like, I'm a Gemini sun. She guessed that. She's Gemini moon. She's a Virgo sun, and I'm a Pisces moon. So there was like that kind of like dichotomy or whatever, or not, but that like balance. And then I tried to guess her rising sign, and I couldn't. Well, I only guessed like 2 or 3 times because eventually it's not a game. You're just like, you only have to one guess it. And see it, and so she was Sagittarius rising. I was like, I'm Sagittarius rising. I was like, fuck this, and I walked out. Like it was like punchline. It was really funny. But all that to say, it's like we are each other, and we're part of something bigger, and it was just fucking cool. And it can be that effortless. And it can be just that too. Like let each moment be itself. Don't assign like a temporal nature to it, and let it ride, let it flow, let it be what it wants to be. And with practice, each of us will continue to release the false expectations that we hold habitually, but have never believed, and presently can easily recognize within us as not something that we believe. And it's like, oh, it's like, I don't really care. It's not a thing. Like for the sake of conversation, and whoever ends up watching this eventually, she's a woman. How old is she? Like based on how I'm talking about her. And then what do you think are like my designs for our the nature of our relationship / friendship / and just notice if there were any like kind of presumptions to that end. That's it. You don't need to know my business. I'm just telling you, like, it's weird, right? Like, none of that's necessary. She could be a young woman. She could be like an older than middle-aged woman. But we make these kind of presumptions on our friendships, our relationships, on meeting, and especially between men and women. For instance, actually, like I felt such a kinship with her that and I've never done this before. I like gave her like this, my channel. Like I was like, hey, like you're, I just feel like you're, I don't even know what I said, but like I would say, if I didn't have to remember, I would just say it again. It's like, you're a tribe. And like, I don't know where I'm going. You don't know where you're going, but like, here's, for my part, this is like a way where, worst case scenario, we don't have to be apart, you know, because we live in a world where it doesn't need to be that way, or rather isn't that way. If I'm referring to the world that we live in, you and I, and the world that we're creating. And she was like, don't you, like, you don't have a phone? And I was like, oh, no, well, no, I don't really carry with me all the time. Like, I was just running in and out. And I looked, I was like, oh, I do have my phone on me. Like, I forgot. But I remembered because I had to make a particular call, and I planned to do it on my way out. But because that's a whole nother thing. Fuck all that. Like phones and shit. But that has something to do with what I want to talk about too. And all of this has to do with it. But I had to negotiate not negotiate, like it was hardly a negotiation. But no, it still was. In like exchanging like legit contact information, I had to dispel, which isn't to say that I then cultivated like how I really feel one way or another. I mean, it just doesn't matter. I just had to dispel the fake impression of dating, because I'm a man and she's a woman, and who knows? Because in the like the false economy, that's the only reason men and women engage with each other, is to fuck, and then get married, have kids, get divorced, do it as much times as they can before we can kill them. You know? And so that brings me back to when women fool around with other women, that's not sex. So let's not call it sex. We can call it sex if you want to be PC, but if you want to be PC, I don't give a fuck. Because that's just trying to make yourself feel better. Or others. And I don't try to make anybody feel better. I love people. And then let that do the magic. But I detest confusion. And when a man sticks his penis in another man's ass, that's not sex either. That's a man sticking his penis in another man's ass. Cool. All right. I'll stop there as far as my opinion, because neither here nor there. Right, or probably is, but whatever. But it's not, that's not sex. That's not sexual intercourse. And we do each other and ourselves an injustice when we use words to mean a great deal many things until that doesn't mean anything anymore. And that's what sex has like become so much that like I'm confident that most people have never had loving sex. Like most people, and I'm talking about even like us, when we think of like that, like, oh, I don't know, we used to like, no, that's not loving sex either. Like you can love someone and they can love you, which I could also argue has been is more rare and just actually not true either. But whatever. But we just call it that, and it's really just what does it say? I can't remember the saying. It's like fucking for something, fucking for fucking for the nation, fucking for whatever. I can't remember the saying. Maybe you do. And you know me, I just don't give away the best parts right away. So let's get there. Slash, that's part of good lovemaking. And then when you get there, you don't beat it up. Call that foreshadowing. Gotta make myself laugh. But okay, it wasn't anal sex. Well, when does sex stop being sex and start being sex? Because I'm never gonna just qualify anything because of like arbitrary tradition. Sex is only sex between a man and a woman because that's how babies are made. That's what the Bible says. It's like, okay, yeah, but just because the Bible said it doesn't mean, first of all, like they've got a claim on it. You know, the Bible says we breathe air, so we breathe air because the Bible says. It's like that is lazy. Go fuck yourself because you're not making love. All right. So let's do one thing at a time. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and agree with sex being a creationary act. It doesn't have to lead to babies every time, but it leads to creation every time. And when it doesn't, it's abuse. And if you don't know that it's going to lead to creation every time, it's abuse. And and this isn't me saying like a man and a man having sex couldn't be creationary in that way. So I'm not saying that. Okay, just see if that's right. Because when I see, I knew something was so funny. We're so powerful. If I paint something, I'm not having sex with my canvas. I'm creating art. It's a creationary act. But I'm not having sex with my canvas. I could poetically wax that I'm making love to my canvas, but I'm not, right? Like paintbrush, penis, not the same thing. I could wax, poetic. That's fun and useful sometimes. But I'm just saying. So it's always a creationary act, but it's not any creationary act. And then I'm going to come back to that because it has to do with my insight that I want to share. What was the other thing? You know what? I'll just move on. I don't have to remember. I hate remembering anything. What's discourse? What's recourse? What's course? It's like sexual intercourse is not about the pleasure. And this is me being polar. Like, in my opinion, all homosexual relationships are rooted in fear and pleasure. And if I were to like be the most general, because I can lovingly have this conversation and I don't care what people do with their time or their bodies or their souls or without judgment. I'm like, actually, thank you for doing it. Thank you for being you. Nobody's being dishonest with your soul, with their own souls. Like holla holla, back yo, keep doing it. Or not, like I don't care. So long as you're not like imposing anything on my life and my way of like preventing. Like you can have your opinion about me, and I can have my opinion about you, and if we can still treat each other as lovingly as if our opinions were to like disappear or like not be or like we switch opinions, then cool. And like that's easy enough. I can not like you and still treat you lovingly, and then I can like you and still treat you lovingly, and that loving act pretty much be the same thing because it doesn't depend on my like. It depends on our environment and what like love is asking. So in that way, I guess 'cause I don't need to defend myself, but in kindness, my personal biases are at least coming from that direction. I love you no matter what. And I don't want to say like, you know, like a penis was like was made to have sex with a vagina, and a vagina was made to have sex with a penis. And I know I'm being like genital or genitally like general. I'm well aware of the different parts of females' anatomy. Trust me. But I'm already like speaking about like what you're like. Let's just like not break it down too much. People know what I'm talking about. I can just call it pussy too. I love calling it pussy. Dick and pussy. Let me do that instead. I'll do that instead. And then whoever wants to be offended can go right ahead. Have you met me? Like, I use my dick to piss too. It also, keeps the sides of my thighs company. Like, oh, it's like it adds some momentum with my walking. It's like a rhythm keeper. I got my heartbeat, got my breath, and I got my balls swinging. I'm not even kidding. So on the one hand, it's kind of like, well, no, it's like we're not made. We don't have we don't have these parts of us just to have like these aspects, but also, yeah, that's what they do. I fit inside you. You fit around me. And like, I can't pee and come at the same time. And like, I don't know, for the real young ones, like, women don't pee out of the same hole they have sex in. You know, like, we use the same hole, but it can't happen at the same time. Women don't use the same hole. Didn't know they had more than one. Take a closer look. Trust me, it's fun. And use your tongue. I don't even care. We're having that conversation. I'm not even blushing. It's one of my favorite things. What up? That's it. So I'm not sticking my dick in the hole that you poo out of. Because I promise you can poo while my dick's inside you, or you can try. And it's not gonna be fun for everybody. There's I think there's like my dick also fits into my oatmeal. You know what I mean? Like, just because something can go somewhere doesn't mean that it turns it into another thing, is what I'm saying, right? Like, yeah, I'm like, there's like, yeah, you're it's like, it's a butt job. It's not a hand job, it's a butt job. Sure, whatever, man. Like, I don't care, but it's not, it's important to create these mental, emotional, physical distinctions, because otherwise you have, and this is like really the tragedy of homosexuality while I'm being polar. Like, look at all the, like, could you what do you mean you think you're born into a body that you're not meant to be born into? Like, how fucking tragic is that? Like, I don't care about whatever story you have to tell yourself to actually feel safe in the world. There's no judgment. Like, that's not, I do care is actually more like, there's no judgment. I do care. But like, that's fucking tragic to not feel like your body is your own. And then like the grand lie of like atheism and like vacuous existence is that like that mistakes like that can just happen. Just like, I feel like I was born into a body, not my own. That makes sense because this isn't my body. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like paradoxes are beautiful. Like, I'm not my body, but this is my body. Like, this is also me and divine and like as much as anything in form. There are no mistakes. And there's no mistakes. There's no world where, if we just if like like make me homosexual, I don't care. Whatever like the most happy, loving situation is, where I like everyone feels the best. Like this, the way it looks doesn't matter. But and so in a world that I dream of, everybody feels like they're in love with themselves, in the complete and utter like ease of isness of their manifestation, and they never have to doubt or navigate self-hate or self-fear, or in ever in any kind of like harming way feel like they can't be themselves as they have always ever been. And while I'm being polar, I'm going to say homosexuality is not a thing. Just because you love someone of your own gender doesn't make you different from anybody else. I love people I love men. I love women. I don't want to kiss all the men that I love. I don't want to kiss all the women that I love. I don't want to stick my penis in all the women that I love. I don't want to stick my penis in all the men that I love. I could, if I wanted to, try with men and women. I don't. People aren't gay. People are people. It's like, oh, I was bisexual and this, and then I was gay for this time, and then I'm like, no, man, you're just you. You're just you being you. And you like this person, and you like love them, and you spend time with them, and then you love this person. Like, we don't need to create division based on who we love. Doesn't that sound fucking stupid? Yeah, man, sounds fucking stupid. So, like, yeah, no kidding, most sex is abuse. Like, listen, like everything I've spoken to, like, is like not separate from all the hetero fucking normative sex you think you're having. So, but we really love each other. Like, yeah, I'm sure. How do you treat yourself? How do you treat each other the rest of the time? Exactly. If you're not having some of the best conversations you've ever had while you're having sex, you're not having good sex. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm just like we're still yep, still just like process that. It's like I don't like I don't like talking when I have sex. I love talking dirty, banter. Like, it's like, I'm not fucking talking about either of those things. Those are both bad sex. And like, trust me, I know a spectrum of good sex. I don't mind. Some people are good at some things. Like, without, they're just like, oh, I'm end up being good at that. Actually, it just makes sense too, because like, I think most people that would actually be watching this will fall into that category of like, yeah, man, I've always just been good at that. It's called caring. Sincerely. So, most of us have probably been raped as well. Sucks. Especially if you're a guy and you have. And like, how fucked is that? That we can't even like, we have to defend that. Like, yeah, actually, no. And yeah, it counts. And fuck you. So, anyways, if you're another man that has also been raped, namaste. I'm with you, brother. By a woman. Because a man can rape another man. It's not sex, it's rape. Rape is never sex. It's always rape. And there's like, of the yin and the yang of like acceptance and understanding and compassion. I have all those things. I am the sword when it comes to things like this. It is divine to trim the hedges. See what I did there? Boom. But it's not divine to fucking just like mow the fucking tilt like the whole field until there ain't nothing fucking there. Don't scorch the fucking earth, yo. God damn. Anyways. Oh, I love having these kinds of conversations. Should do it more often. Oh, yeah. All right, so I guess I'll stop being selfish because I am actually just really enjoying the conversation and the topic, and which allows me to speak boldly, but also pertinently in the wee hours of the morning. Ordinarily, I'll probably be awake, but ideally, I'd be making love. Sorry, my voice isn't right. It's too. Actually, it's just I don't want to be loud because it's quite early. But and you don't sing that song quietly. But I don't mind going to. I don't mind giving you a secret now with all your patience and humor. I've read a lot. And I would say that I've had my fair share of a lot of sex. I was like reasonably promiscuous before I started having girlfriends. And like really, I guess in between, I just don't care that much about like having sex or not having sex. Because it hasn't really been what I like, what feels like love anyway. Even with the most loving relationships that I've had, I can look back and be like, they weren't enough. Because loving is the easiest thing to be forever. To marry someone, to be with, it's like you don't That's not like, oh, I wonder if I can, we're still going to love each other and do that. Like, if you're wondering that, you don't love yourself, first of all. Because if you loved yourself, you'd know that. You'd know that that's not a thing. And that, like, forever is not long enough to be with someone that you love. And you can feel that way about a great deal many people, not just like the person like that you want to like in like intertwine your like genealogy with, or rather continue it, because cosmic love is embedded in eternity, and you love who you love. And I don't know about you, but like if I could, and I can, I would choose, and I do, to love whom I love always and forever. Not as like a point of commitment of being like, I want to be the person that does or is. It's like, no, man, I love what I love. And I'm always going to love that. And that's you. So I'm always going to find you because you're my favorite thing. This is not rocket science. It's divinity. So it's simple. It makes sense. It's easy. And we've done it before. We'll do it again. Although this time is pretty fucking like, I didn't know we were going to sign up for this. You shit. Like, we're coming out pretty fucking awesome. But we could have really just vacationed somewhere instead, right? It's like, yeah, that sucked. But now we're like epic. It's like, yeah, but we were always going to be epic. Wherever we are. Anyways, so I've done some tantric workshops and and I've read a whole whack of books, and I'm a doer. Just to say, I know, I know theoretically and hypothetically like a great deal, much more than I know from experience. But you've never heard me talk about anything that I hypothetically know or theoretically think, because ain't nobody got time for that. At least of all me, I only care about the things that I can experience. Everything else is like make room for, test it, make it real if I care enough. Oh, ends up I don't care enough. Guess it's not real. Mm-hmm. So, in case you're unfamiliar with tantric, anything, like that's just not a word to you, I invite you to Google it. Sorry, don't Google it. Like, search it, search bar it. Fuck. Smuggle. Like, really, and I'm not even being like facetious or like sassy, you will certainly learn things of value if you've never heard of it before. But it's like it was popularized by Sting. And if you don't know who Sting is, you don't have to search bar it. Like, it's just probably popularized by, I don't know, your yoga teacher. Because it's all you youngins. Yoga's trendy. Anyways. Tantra yoga is differentiated from other branches of yoga by its insistence on achieving the state of nirvana while alive in form. That one need not give up their life, which is to say, like, to live ascetically. That austerity is not like exclusively in the realm of, like, I don't know, like stoic poverty. Also, in the traditions of like Hindu thought, which is actually similar to most religious indoctrination, and I actually say that differently than I'm referring to Hinduism. Although all religions eventually like find themselves rooted, not branched, rooted in indoctrination. Because before that, they weren't religions; they were just life. Where whatever you do and while you're alive, just to redeem yourself and then escape the wheel of karma. It's the cycle of birth and rebirth, with death somewhere in between. And Tantra yoga asserts that asserts differently. The nirvana is to be achieved, or not, or at least can be, while you're in your body. Okay, and then Tantra, like, popularly considered, means having sex for long periods of time. Which then gets like further fucking dumbed down to being able to last longer. Which it's like a fucking crying shame that every man has had that fear / concern unreasonably. Because again, it's not a thing. But again, that's not really good sex. That's not sacred. And it has to do with it works a lot with like prana flow, energy flow, and a lot of breath practice in like meditation and in everyday life, but also like in sex and in unison with your partner. It is considerate of the opportunities of different sexual positions, which is to say physical positions. And differently than, like, I don't know, like the porn Olympics, where you're just fucking, we haven't done this, we haven't done that. It's like, go jump out of a plane. If you haven't done that, just bored. You don't have sex because you're bored. And if you're, it's not good sex. It's not sacred. And all sex can be sacred. And also sacred sex doesn't have to, you don't have to be having sex for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, like, for it to qualify either. Good sex is non-temporal. And I didn't say tempura, although I love tempura. Oh, obviously, because it's like seafood and fish and clam. Yummy. Sorry, I should need to do that. And all those things, and also it's about the practices that you share with your partner outside of the sex act, but like are really part of it. So it's like not outside the sex act, and that's just like meditating together, having like a breath practice together, doing yogasana together, how you like commune over food together. Chanting, which, I mean, honestly, if that word gives you the heebie-jeebies, then a lot of things probably give you the heebie-jeebies, and I'm sorry, but that's your life experience. It's just singing, you know. Which, like, I don't know if you've been listening. That's all just lovemaking. That's all lovemaking. Everything I just mentioned is lovemaking. And while what I'll tell you is, it's like you'll find it. It's not like it's never been said before, but it's like it's almost said like it gets like not even glossed over. It's like even like the tantric yogis and the authors and like the mentok chias of the world will like say it, and it's like the truth, but like it's almost like it's like we're not like the heart hasn't like ascended or descended as whatever's necessary enough to recognize like the significance of or the import of this truth. And that's this. And I'm actually we're just going to conclude, like we're going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to speak really particularly, like specifically. Sex isn't about thrusting. It's not. Sex is not in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, done. It's not sex. It's not meant to be sex. It's not sex. Legit, that's fucking. And there's no judgment. That's pretty much the only way I've ever had sex. I want to venture you too. That's what we've been told. That's what everybody does. In fact, when you do anything differently, you're made to feel shameful, right? Or weird. Or like, ain't nobody's ever got time for you. But that's not sex. I'm loath to say that even that's just a part of sex. It's like, I don't know. I sit sometimes. I sleep sometimes. It's like, is sleep my whole life? Is sitting my whole life? No, just because it's happened in it or at some part doesn't mean I classify my living as a sitting. You know what I mean? And sex isn't about in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. First of all, and this might be news actually to men or women, because I don't know, people don't really take the time to know these things, but I'm obsessive with everything, with a lot of things. I'm obsessive practically with anything I found interesting. And then I don't even know anything about anything I don't. So
Like, don't ask me about what's going on in the world because I can't be fucked. It doesn't matter. It's not real. It's like a bad show. I don't watch bad shows. Boring. It's so boring. Well, I'm just kind of like placing it because I'm so personally like resonant that I don't really work this way anymore. But anyways, for men to have an erection and for men to ejaculate, those are contrary autonomic like nervous system responses. One's a sympathetic response, which is to say like it's a stress act, and the other is a parasympathetic response, which is to say it's like relaxed. For a man to have an erection, he has to be in a parasympathetic response, like a parasympathetic state. Like he's not stressed about shit, about any, like and that's like erectile dysfunction isn't a thing. It's like, oh no, you just like your dick can't deny that your life's trying to kill you. And I said life, not wife. Although she might be, I don't know. Sacred marriages is just as rare as sacred sex. So, and again, none of these are like character judgments. It's like, no, man, like you live in this world too. It's been, it's like it's not like an enslavement. It's we're slaves until we're not, and most people are slaves. And most people, and if you're not, you've been a slave for most of your life, and you know that. Even if you're not a slave now, I ain't no slave now. I've been a slave most of my life. I've been a woke ass slave most of my life. I've known I've been a slave since I've been a young child. The first time I asked like, why this? And somebody told me, just cause. Like that's fucking stupid. Like the world, I can imagine. I'm a kid and I can imagine the world better than this. So something must be up. We must be slaves. And then to ejaculate, that's actually a sympathetic response, which is to say, like it's like stressed. Is that right? Like, I can't remember anymore because like my own personal experience is too like bonded. It might be the other way around. I think it's actually the other way around. Yeah, because to get the erection is like an excitatory state, and then ejaculation is like chill. I don't know, man. I can't remember because again, like I'm actually quite enjoying the fact that I'm like, oh wow, like I have separated enough from my false persona to even like be like to like even engage with like a memory or anything like that. I can't like it's like not there enough. But that also doesn't really matter enough. What matters is that there is this negotiation of states that's really externalized in men. Women are the same. But literature pertaining to such is more rare because it's more subtle. You know, it's much easier to say that most women just don't have orgasms. than to have some sympathetic parasympathetic response explaining why you can't get hard. You gotta have you guys. We're men. We need reasons. Women, we just can just say it's because woe is women. No, man. There's like an ebb and flow, an excitement, and like a calm. You know, and it's a testament to the sadness of the world that sex is failed. I was going to say accomplished, but failed through the ignorance of of at least half of ourselves. And then with like our sex partner, and they're missing half of themselves, that's a whole one of us missing, man. No kidding, we're not having sacred sex. I'm just actually realizing how much I can speak to this topic, so I'm going to curb it and just end, not Bush, with what made me think of this in like a more full and like literary expression of it was I was just thinking about yin and yang and yin, and just how inverted most of that shit is in our life. What's typically yang is categorized as masculine, but in my experience, is evidenced in like in divinity and in like empowerment. Actually, mostly in women, and then the same for the yin. Like I would say, and this is how I just this is actually this is what I would teach, because this isn't just my opinion. This is like at least my opinion as tested in life, in my experience. As a man engaging in society, I'm yang. But as a man engaged with a woman, I'm yin. Like, and she's my yang. Like, I'm. She's the fire, and she's the light in me. Like, she's the light that like I see, and my light isn't on my outside for her. My light's on the inside for her. Like I'm on my outside. I'm the dark one. I'm the shadow. I'm the shade rather. I'm the rock. I'm not moving. I'm fucking still here. And then and she's the dancing flame. She's that lighting the world on fire. She's what I want to see. Like I don't even actually want to see anything but her. So whatever she shines light on is like what I want. I'm down. Like this sounds good, you know. But there's so much confusion around the true expression of ourselves because it's like I don't need to tell nobody that. That's true. Like the truth is available for everybody to pursue. It's right here. Don't believe me. Just go do it. So just thinking about that and thinking about sex, baby, and all the good things, all the bad things that make me think about sex. Let's talk about sex. Okay. Uh, and so I was thinking about the really obvious and indoctrinated image really of the penetrating act. It's like, well, men penetrate, we go in. So and it's like yang. It's like, yeah, okay, I guess. Like, and then it's like yang. Like, we're the outside, like we're the arrow, you know, or whatever. Which led me to believe, as a stretch. Oh, that's funny. Uh, like the back of the body is yang, the front of the body is yin. For instance, so it's like but the outside of the whole body is yang, and on the inside surface of the whole body is yin. So when a man enters a woman, it can be seen as like a penetrating act, sure, but like, I don't know, does a seed penetrate the earth, or is it like kind of just like fall there and get swallowed up? And I'm not joking. That's like, there's a lot of lie about, obviously, the true dynamics about men and women. Like sperm, it's like we fucking just bust our nut, and the fastest swimmer gets to the egg, and he wins. That's the baby. When like actually, nothing works that way. You'd have to be stupid to believe that without looking further into it if it mattered enough to you. And it's not the way things work. Uh, they don't fucking swim around at random. They're following a signal from the egg. Like the the egg chooses the sperm. There's an electromagnetic communication that occurs, which is part and parcel for why the world is so fucked up, and why like there's so much like disturbedness in humanity, is the disruption of that communication, and thusly, and again, whatever, I'm being polar, like all the babies, maybe I'm one of them, who fucking knows, that's not less, we make do, but all like the genetic manipulation that has like arisen from the fact that's like, shit, man, like that that's not the genetic combination that was meant to happen. you know but cell phones are these new things, and everybody keeps them besides their crotch. They don't affect you as much anymore if you're sovereign and self-strong, so don't fucking get all fearful and shit. But just saying, that's a big lie. And then the other lie is, first of all, that men are stronger than women. And I only mention that because, like, the truth is, first of all, a woman's strength is twofold. One, physical strength can, like, downright, like, almost match, in any case, a man's. It's just social. It's just social cultural like manipulation that has created the contrary. And like, if you believe it, it's true. Testosterone. It's like, fuck testosterone. That's not a thing. Okay. But also, a woman's strength is other women, which has been, I don't have to tell you, like turned on its head. Right? You don't fuck with a woman because she'll kick your ass, or all the women will kick your ass. And not just all the women, like all the men that love those women are going to kick your ass. Like, everybody's going to kick your ass. And that way, women are stronger than men. And so they choose. you know, Just listening. Okay. So sorry, I get distracted by my environment. Which is to say, I can't help but pay attention until I like move on. So when a man enters a woman and doesn't like leave right away, like it's like we've been let in, sure, but now like it's I'm just saying it's always looked at like we're inside you instead of uh, you're around us, you know, and just like seated like within each other, like and 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 looking into each other's eyes and breathing, yeah, maybe even like talking and not moving so much, like not just like constantly wiggling and thrusting or not, and you know, but just like letting your breath and your diaphragm be that movement, you know, like I can attest, I don't need that action is not necessary for orgasm. It isn't. You don't need to rub it to make it happen. It's a lie. But just the very idea of um, a man being inside a woman and then getting soft as like not the point of what you're trying to achieve, even. So that's that's divine. Like if a man can be inside a woman while flaccid, like to have like been erect, to like enter deeply, and then essentially like retain a kind of length by virtue of the pressure, right? Like the suction, the vacuum, yeah, of love. But then like lose that rigidity. Like that's fucking gorgeous and really beautiful. And honestly, like that's next level sex, yo. That's real sex. That's sacred. That's um that's that's sacred integration. And now, and when I am speaking hypothetically and theoretically and stuff, I'm really explicit about it. So like here I am, I'm gonna be fucking explicit as shit about it right now. This is really just my thought. I don't know. Well, this is my thought, but I'm interested because I'm all about like the alleviation of suffering. But I think that like beyond like world peace, really, like no big deal. But another like ramification of, or like added like, yeah, or a ramification of men and women making love in this way is I don't believe that a woman's menstrual cycle needs to be, or is like meant to be rather, so evacuative monthly. Like essentially the shedding of the uteral lining and the the flushing of the eggs, or like the egg, it's all it's all purging, right? Like the divine opportunity of the uteral lining and the menstrual cycle, like in divinity and essence, is it's like an environmental shielding, but also an environmental creation. It's like because the fetus, that's their whole world, you know, until they're born. So wherever you live, whoever's around you, is and like as an offering as to like how you are and who you are and what makes you like, that's all has an effect on your own electromagnetic expression, right? And you've got a whole life to figure that out. And then you meet a love partner who's going to be like an equal part of this new being too. But they can't, the new being can't be in both of you. So your womb, your uterus, is it's like the man part of you. It's your love partner part of you. It's the part that's like taking in your environment. Like it's like the trees that and if and then if you've got a love partner, right? He's probably beside you like all the fucking time. And so that part of you that isn't you, right? That can be kind of more readily shed as you change. It's like the mirror. It's like a reflection. Kind of like it builds and it grows, and then just something changes radically. It's like, fuck, okay, well, like shed that, purge that. And let's bring in new. But this has a lot to do with more of like the biological thinking that we don't have to die, you know, which is actually super reasonable if you are interested enough to look into it. Or at least we're all capable of living a great deal much longer, and not with the help of things outside of ourselves, unless we can consider each other as outside of ourselves. Then, and so what gets shed is only what's necessary to shed. And instability things don't need to get shed all the fucking time. And when we all fuck like fucking monkeys, it's just like, man, maybe next month there won't be a monkey. I don't know. There's just a great deal more opportunity in how we connect with one another. And this is just one way. I admittedly clickbaited this topic a little bit, mostly because I wanted to give a whole fuck you to the whole, like, just because you think I'm going to talk about something doesn't mean I'm going to give it to you easy. Because I'm trying to, in essence, give the whole fuck you to, like, just because we're fucking doesn't mean it can't be easy.
Yep, fair enough. Islam twice. I hope that you have a lovely day. That you got enjoyment from sharing your time with me. And I wish us all the best. And maybe some really great sacred sex sooner than later. Because fuck, it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the screen. We all deserve that. It's true. Have a lovely day. And I'll talk to you later. Maybe even soon. Okay. Bye. Oh, one more thing. I love you.